What's up, guys? It's Bozzy. So I know why you clicked on the video. You want to learn how to hard scope. Just kidding. Got you. You want to learn how to quick scope. I'm not a professional, but I do know a good bit about it. I've been quick scoping now for about 4 years off and on, 5 months consecutively. My progress in the last 5 months has been substantial, to say the least. So don't take this as this is right or this is wrong. This is just the way that I play and the things that I've learned. And yeah, everybody's going to play differently. So like I said, don't take it as this is right or this is wrong. Just take it as advice and try to implement some of these into your gameplay, see if it works for you. But going into it, what we're going to be going over today is just basic map navigation, why I'm looking somewheres, how I'm moving, why I'm moving that way. Class loadouts, what I use as my daily go-to. Perks, attachments, why I'm using them, and how I'm using them effectively. I am going to be playing on Black Ops 7. That's what's out currently. But this does apply to basically any Call of Duty from Vanguard, Cold War, Black Ops 6, Black Ops 2. They're really all the same. I mean, there's minor differences, but, and you guys are going to come for me in the comments for saying that. I know that for a fact. But you get the point, right? Any game that you're sniping in, the concept is basically the same. Map play is going to be different. But yeah, so I'm going to keep this pretty short. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so while I'm getting this all set up, just so you guys know, I do go live on TikTok. You can follow my TikTok. That's Bazzy, just Bazygg, Bazzy G. I do go live on Twitch, same thing, Bazzy G. If you guys wanted to check out some of my shorts, they're also on my channel. But so we're gonna start off in a private match, and I'm gonna just do a private match to explain map navigation and basics and stuff like that. So before we get into the game, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys my loadout, what I use and why I use it. Right now on Black Ops 7, the best sniper, in my opinion, to be using for quick scoping is the VSR or the VS Recon. I run the standard optic. It's just classic. It looks good. It feels good. It works the way it's supposed to. It helps you in long shots. It helps you up close. It just overall, in my opinion, is just standard and it just feels good. Muzzle brake, or sorry, muzzle. A lot of people run the VS 762 brake. I don't run that. It does help with the first shot recoil, and that is a big issue recently in Call of Duty is the recoil. But I run the Titan just for the all hit fire speed. I do slide and jump a lot, and that has saved it. It has saved me in so many situations being able to have that. And then the slide or dive to fire speed. It's just in my gameplay style, it is a no-brainer. Barrel, 17-inch short barrel is what I run. This is giving you aim down sight speed. It's giving you jumping aim down sight speed. It's giving you jumping sprint to fire speed. It's giving you sprint to fire speed. Again, no brainer. In Black Ops 7, they introduced the wall jumping, and everybody's wall jumping. So you have to be able to play at not only ground level, you have to play at window level, and you also have to play at wall jump level because you can jump up to 3 times. So now imagine you're on ground, you jump 1 wall, 2 wall, 3 wall. You're now above windows, so you're playing basically 3 stories instead of 1 story. So you have to be able to get up to that story to play on the same level as them. Otherwise, you're looking up, you're looking down, you're looking side to side. Then it becomes hard to track your targets. But if you can get onto the same level as them, then you're only looking left to right. You're knocking out the vertical axis, and it just makes it way easier to hit your shots. So definitely gonna be jumping. Anything that's increasing jump to fire speed or sprint to fire speed or slide to fire speed, 100% need to have it. Under barrel, I am running the prestige attachment, MFS R-stop handguard. Rechamber stabilization. This is stopping your gun from going like this when you're rechambering. Rechamber stabilization is a big issue in Black Ops 7, where when you're rechambering, especially in snipers, your gun is flying all over the screen. And what's happening if your gun's flying all over the screen? Not only are you losing visual of what's in front of you, you're also losing center. And center is key to sniping because you only have one chance to hit that target. Otherwise, they're going to get you unless you can pull some crazy move out. So you always have to stay centered regardless of what you're doing, jumping, sliding, diving. In this game, the TTK, or the time to kill, is minimal, milliseconds. You have a split second to hit that target. Otherwise, you're out. You're done. So I take every advantage of all ADS possibilities. And a lot of people will run the extended mag because they don't like reloading constantly. For extended kill chains, the extended mag makes more sense. But if you're going for, trick shots, or if you're going for triples, just crazy triples, I recommend going with the dash line speed mag. That's what I do. And if you're sneaky enough with it, you can get away with doing these longer kill chains with it. Rear grip, I use the R1 shelf grip. This is giving you the most aim down sight speed, and jumping aim down sight speed. Like I said, you're playing on multiple levels in this game, so you want to have as much speed as possible when you're up in those different levels, because if you're fast on the ground, but then you're trying to track somebody that's 3 levels up and you try to get up to their level, and then now you're not as fast as they are, you're not going to win. It's, like I said, milliseconds on the TTK here. So definitely want to be as fast as possible on all different levels, because you're going to be playing on all levels every single game. Stock, I'm running the mobility pad, Contra Light pad. Again, like I said, you want to be as mobile as possible. Hip fire movement speed, strafing movement speed. This is all coming into play when you're moving back and forth, trying to throw off their center, or if you are trying to get across the map, you want to get to that position where you have the advantage on them before they do. So all movement speed is crucial, because if they get to that spot before you do, they're already aimed down sight, they're pre-aimed, they're hard scoping, they're whatever. By the time you get there, boom, done. There's no chance for you to get to them. So you want to have as much mobility as possible when you're running a sniper. But laser, 5 milliwatt lockstep laser. This has been like a consistent across the past couple Call of Duties. Hip fire to ADS accuracy. This is going to help with your pop shots, with your when you're in crazy situations and you have to make quick decisions and you don't have time to make sure that you're 100% focused on your target. This is going to help to make sure that if your crosshairs are generally in the direction of your target, that your bullet is going to go in the general direction of your crosshairs. So if your crosshairs are, on your target, your bullet's not going to go off to the right. Or if you're making a quick flick, it's going to stay pretty accurate to the actual crosshairs. So 5 milliwatt lockstep laser, have to have it. Fire mods, rapid fire. Some people used NATO overpressured or FMJ. So overpressured is going to help with bullet velocity. Some people feel like the bullet velocity, if the bullet's getting there quicker, it's going to be a quicker TTK. The other side of that, FMJ ammo, is going to give you penetration damage. But I run rapid fire light bolt because the probability of you getting a squad wipe lineup for a collateral is just minimal compared to the chances of you running into their spawn and having 6 people in different locations. So I always run the rapid fire light bolt. That's everything for attachments. Let's get into perks real quick. So perks, I run lightweight. Self-explanatory. So increased movement speed, jump, slide, and dive further, faster recovery from sliding and diving. I run this specifically for trick shots. When you are doing dive shots, you get a further dive. You have more time to focus in on what your target is. Same thing for sliding. If you're sliding across, a doorway, you have a longer spread. So instead of you sliding and accidentally stopping in the middle of the doorway, for a fact you're going to make it all the way through the doorway. That's just based on my play style. That's why I run lightweight. A lot of people will run ninja. This helps with eliminating footsteps. If you're trying to be sneaky, if you're running up behind people, if you're going for point blanks, then you're going to run ninja. For my second perk, I run fast hands. Fast hands is reload and swap weapons faster, extended fuses when throwing back grenades. Black Ops 7 is known when I tell you, it's known for grenades. They are the most aggravating thing in the world. And a lot of people would say run flak jacket, but if you're taking away the ability to reload your gun as fast as possible, if you're in a sticky situation for the grenades, you're most likely going to end up not getting that 5th kill or 3rd kill or 4th kill to get your clip in. So if you're going for straight clips and you're trying to post clips, run fast hands. Just you're gonna have to deal with the grenades, unfortunately. The only perk to it is that it does extend the fuses. So if you are quick enough, you can toss those grenades back, boom, add another person to your kill streak. So I run fast hands. Again, my personal play style. You may prefer to run flak jacket. Third, I run dexterity. reduce weapon motion. Like I said earlier, you want to keep everything as centered and stable as possible at all times. So if you're running dexterity, your gun's not going to be going like this when you're running. It's going to stay still. And that's just going to help you maintain your center. Because if it's going back and forth, it's going to throw you off. You're not going to know where your gun's aiming, if you're aiming at the person, if you should aim in, if you should adjust. So personally, dexterity for me is a must-have. Like it says right here, reduce weapon motion during jumps, wall jumps, slides, and dives. Take less fall damage. This is especially good if you're running for trick shots, because you're going to be jumping off of things, diving off of things. Just you're going to be all over the place. You're going to be like a freaking bunny rabbit. So dexterity, gotta have it, at least in my opinion. Combat X, I run a Combat X for my lethal. I do that because if you are in a sticky situation and your gun is out of ammo and you have nothing else, you can always just yeet a freaking Combat X, and that'll clear that one person for you, give you enough time to reload, and then you can continue with your kill chain. Stim shots, I run stims. I feel like almost everybody in the game runs stims. This is just health regen, if you didn't know, but yeah, stims. Assault pack. I run assault pack, especially running the dash line mag, because you're going to run out of ammo quicker. So always have an assault pack on you, because if you hit, if you're going for nukes or you're going for crazy KDs, I think I had a game yesterday where I went 60 and 12. I was utilizing assault packs because there's no way you're going to get through, especially when you're not only hitting shots, but you're also missing shots. So you got to account for that. So yeah, I might have 60. However, I probably had, 100 shots or 110 shots. That's my entire clip. So, or close to my entire clip. But assault packs, I run that just for the ammo, and then it also helps with the Combat X, because if you lose your Combat X, which is notorious in Black Ops 7, it always somehow flies out the map or under the map or into something and you can't grab it. You always got a second one. So assault pack for sure. And gunfighter. If you're gonna run all these attachments that I have on the VSR, you're gonna need a gunfighter. I prefer to have more attachments to my gun. I'm confident in my movement, so I'm not really gonna try to run anything else. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into this private match. All right, so starting out, we usually don't spawn right here. So let's go back to where we usually spawn. All right, so starting out, you're usually going to spawn back here, or you're going to spawn back here. Now, this is just according to Blue House and this map specifically. This is going to change per map, per spawn location, per a lot of different variables. So let's say I'm spawning here. My first instinct is going to be to run. I'm going to run right through the garage. I'm going to run right here. Boom. That's where I'm going to try to go, right? Now, the other side is going to do the exact same thing. So you have to get here before the other person gets behind that wall right there. The chances of that happening are about 50-50. The distance, depending on if they spawn here or over there, is going to make the difference. So normally, and I still slip up sometimes. You'll see me do it in my clips. So if I'm spawning here, I'm going to avoid the temptation of running right to this garage or right down this alleyway. I'm either going to run inside of this door right here, and I'm going to come over to this side, and I'm going to peek in here, right, this yellow car. That gives them time to get from there to that yellow car. If I peek here, nobody's here, I'm looking inside of this truck right here. If there's nobody in this truck right here, I'm looking here, and then I'm looking there. This gives me full visibility of the entire middle of the map, right from this one spot. But you're going to want to check yellow car, trailer, front of trailer or front of truck, front of bus, and then you can check over here if you want to. The chances of them getting there by the time you get here is very low. But now you have a full scope of the entire map before anybody has seen you. So once you're moving out of this area, what I do personally is I'm going to walk this way, right? So I'm keeping my eye on that side of the map. And the reason I'm keeping my eye on that side of the map is because 90% of people are going to run right along this wall right here, this back wall. And they're going to run right along these flower beds, and they're going to try to get behind this cover right here so that they can get you when you come down this alleyway. Now, what they're forgetting is that the time to kill, or sorry, the time that it takes them to get there to there versus you to there, much lower. So now you're already here. You have the full advantage of this side. while I'm standing here, like while I'm walking through this way, you have to keep your ears open. You're listening with your ears, and then your ears are basically your second set of eyes when you're playing Call of Duty. I'm listening for footsteps in my left ear. Um, and anybody that's walking basically from this front door, that garage, that alleyway, they're all going to migrate either between the buses here or they're going to migrate around the buses this way. Now, as I'm walking this way, I'm going to hear them in my left ear. So if I see nobody in front of me and I hear them in my left ear, all I got to do is turn and I have access. Boom, right here, boom, right here. Now, I have cover from this bus, right? The front of this bus. So my first place that I'm going to check is right here. That's where I have the least amount of cover. Then I'm going to check the bus, and if I've heard footsteps for a while, they could be behind this car. But if you're quick with it and you're paying attention to your audio, you're going to notice the footsteps well before they get to this car. So very minimal on the list of worries. But yeah, checking front of bus, checking front of truck, checking front of bus. Moving through here, I'm going to stay sideways. I'm consistently staying looking at the entire view of the map. And like I said, this is my play style. You may play differently, but this is what works for me. I'm consistently keeping view. Now I know people are coming from my left because that's where they spawned. So I'm consistently listening out of my left ear. Now, once I move past the front of this truck, I have view here. Who's coming down this alleyway? I'm looking right through this crevice. Okay, nobody's looking down this alleyway. They must be on this side. Now I've technically reduced the map size from the entire map down to just one corner of the map. So I know if I haven't seen anybody if I haven't seen anybody over here, I haven't seen anybody here, nobody's walking down this way, I know they're either going to be in that front door, that garage door, or they're going to be coming down this alleyway. So basic map navigation, not going to get into the crazy stuff at the moment, but when I come around this bus, I technically would jump off the side of this bus like that, but when I come around this bus, my first place that I'm going to look, I'm going to give you a quiz. All right, so where am I losing cover at first? Am I losing cover from the alleyway, the garage, or the front door? When I come around this bus, where did I lose cover at first? If you guessed alleyway, that's right. So you're losing coverage at the alleyway right here. So when you come around this bus, you should be pre-aimed right on this alleyway. People like to hide right behind this corner. So when I come around this bus, my scope is always going to be right to this alleyway, right to this garage, right to the front door, right to that alleyway. Once I know where the person's coming from, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be somebody coming through one of these doors. When I'm running around the bus, right, for example, I'm going to come through here, peek alleyway, peek garage, peek stairs, because there's stairs and then there's downstairs. People sometimes come down these stairs. So you're peeking stairs, you're peeking door. You're not adjusting your scope at the moment, right? Because you're looking at everything visually first. So I'm peeking stairs and front of door. I'm also keeping my eye up here. So I'm doing a quick glance up here because some people like to sit up here. And if you forget to look up here, they are going to get you. It's just going to suck every time they're going to get you. So like I said, my order of operations for around this bus, right here, alleyway, garage, and between alleyway and garage, I'm peeking this window out of my peripherals. So alleyway, peek, garage, stairs, downstairs, and I'm peeking this slot right here to see if anybody runs through. If somebody runs through, your eye's going to catch that. So if they run through, you know right now they're going to be right here. So I'm going to come through here, boom. Now I've seen them before they seen me, and I have the advantage on the TTK, on the time to kill. So, boom. Now you have the whole map cleared, right? That's basically how I go through about clearing the map just from that specific spawn. Yellow car is a popular place on this map. I'm sure we all know. Yellow car gives you the most visual across the entirety of the map, okay? You can see back spawn here. You can see front door, top window. You can peek heads here. You can see any people running from here to, this used to be Jeep, but now it's blue car. So you'll see anybody that's hanging out around blue car. People like to sit back in this corner over here. You'll see legs if they're laying down, or you'll see their head. You have full visibility inside of the truck. You can peek through truck to see people running through that alleyway. You have access to front door, blue garage, and blue alleyway left side or right side, and blue back spawn. So this gives you, the only spot you're missing really out of this area right here is top window. But if you make adjustments, you can go back and forth. So this is a very popular this is a very popular place for people to try to hang out, and just pop off on kills. But let's go and review the other way that I would take around this. So let's say I'm spawning here again, right? Let's say I'm spawning in here. I'm going to run through. Okay. First thing I'm doing is I'm sliding. I'm looking right. Why am I looking right? This is the primary path that people take. Okay. So a lot of people will run down this side because that's the yellow car side. Like I said, it's a very popular area. People are going to naturally run through here or garage. So I'm sliding right. I'm peeking alley. I'm peeking garage door. I'm also going to be peeking this. I'm not turning my scope to this because this is least predominant. But I am peeking it with my eye, my left eye. I'm also listening, my left ear, for people coming down this alleyway on this side. I use my left ear a lot. I think it's because I'm predominantly right-handed. I don't know if that's true for everybody, but it's opposite. I feel more comfortable watching the right side of my screen and using my ears for my left. So yeah, checking alley, garage, peeking that door, and then listening for alleyway. Up here, in at least my experience, I don't get many people that come from up here, maybe one per game. So yeah, I'm coming out of spawn. I'm sliding, I'm looking, I'm peeking. Now, instinct says to go right through here, right? If you're going to go through this door, if you're going to follow instinct and you're going to go through this door, first place you got to check is right here. So when I'm coming through this door, I'm aimed and I'm at the door, right? That was pretty shitty, not going to lie. But I'm aimed and I'm at the door. And I'm already scoped in, right? I'm not waiting for them to show up. I'm already scoped in because I know if they're going to be here, they're going to be there, or they're going to be here. There's only two ways, right? So scoped in at the door. If they're not at the door, then I'm jumping and I'm here. Not specifically here, predominantly here. And I'm checking here because this is giving me view of one staircase, which helps you mid game, not really for spawn of game, but it gives me view staircase. It gives me view front of bus for people that are coming around that left side of the other spawn. And then I can move through, check my corner right here. Crazy corner for people to sit here, lay down here, toss grenades out. People love to sit right here. So I'm always checking this corner and I'm running through, checking back corner. You always want to back check your corners because people love to sit and camp in corners. We all know this. So always back checking corners. Right here, if they're mid game, right here is a crazy spot for people to sit. Always somebody sitting here. So I'm running through, checking, back checking. I already checked here. I already had access to the front door and I already saw the stairs. So running through, I'm going to half back peek steps, make sure nobody's standing there, and you would be coming out the front door. When you come out the front door, your main issue area is going to be blue car or yellow car. People love to lay behind blue car. Everybody piles up on yellow car. So when I come out, I'm checking yellow car first, the most popular. Then I'm scanning, not focusing in, but scanning on the trailer. Once I'm done scanning trailer, I'm going to blue car. So natural movement would be, now I'm out. When I come out, I'm scoped in yellow car, scanned, already scanned without even scoping in trailer. Now I'm moving to blue car. If you notice, when I'm moving over to blue car, I'm moving sideways. I'm generating cover from anybody that might be running around bus. So generating cover, and I may slide, and I'm checking this corner. This corner, like I said, predominantly people like to lay down right here. So check that corner, and then I can make my way around, and we're back to where we were from the beginning. I'm not going to go through every single play route. That's just, there's too many of them. But you guys are getting the basic concept, right? So if you're walking, didn't mean to do that. So if you guys are walking in any situation around, you're always pre-aiming every corner, right? So I'm always pre-aiming and looking at a route. There's only 3 routes in every map: right, middle, left. Now there's up and down because Black Ops 7, we have wall jumping and we have windows. So you're always checking vertically, because people can come flying out from up here if they're wall jumping. They can come flying out of here if they're in the window. They can come flying from up here if they're wall jumping. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places that you need to keep an eye on. And that just happens from keeping a general awareness, let's say. But yeah, so I'm always jumping. I'm always pre-aiming on a path. Even if I don't know if there's somebody there, I'm still pre-aiming, right? Accelerating off of walls, I just did that by accident. I wasn't supposed to do that right this second, but it does bring me into accelerating off of walls. So basically, when you're coming around a corner, right? So let's say you come around this corner and you peek, right? Not only have you moved around this corner as slow as you possibly can, you're now stagnant right here. All it takes is somebody to pop their head peek, and if they're quick scoping, that's it, right? So sliding around a corner accelerates your movement from that corner. Yes, you have to be prepared because now you're losing cover, but you accelerated your movement, so you're already one step ahead. Now, what I tend to do is wall jump off of a corner. The reason that I do that is because, one, they're expecting you to come walking around the corner head height. They're already holding their crosshairs at head height. That's just something that people are naturally trained to do as they play Call of Duty for multiple years. Their crosshairs stay consistent at head height, right? So when you go like this, now their pre-aimed head height is now toe height. And if we know metrics of Call of Duty, the further down on the body that you shoot, the less damage that's dealt. So now you're putting them at the disadvantage because they're pre-aimed to what they think is your head and is now your foot. So you're removing the chance for them to, one, get critical damage, and two, you're throwing them off because now they have to readjust and recenter. And if you're playing smart, you're already keeping your crosshair at their head height. So when you jump up in the air, you're aiming down, right? Because you're expecting them to be, one, either running through here or peeking this back corner. So you're not going to jump through, right, and keep it like that because 9 times out of 10, somebody's not going to be that high if you're already jumping that high. So you're going to, boom, go down. If they are up there and they are wall jumping at the same time, you can also readjust. But they're probably also aiming down, so now you guys are equal. But yeah, you just want to keep everything equal and or get the advantage on somebody. Sliding corners, like I said, wall jumping off of corners. Every corner that I get the option to, I'm going to be wall jumping. Right here, checking top door. Okay. You find different ways to play different maps that help you remember to check each place. So checking top door, checking bottom door. See how my crosshair was already set up for top door and it was set up for bottom door? I'll do it one more time just in case you didn't see. Top door. Oh, that was pretty rough. But top door, bottom door. I'm already ready for somebody to come out. So that's going to be a split second. And then I'm immediately going to turn spawn. And the reason I'm moving closer to this door right here is because I know if you're playing domination or if you're playing hardpoint, people are going to continuously spawn out of right here if this is their spawn side. So if, one person comes out, you can boom real quick. If 10 people come out and you have a sniper and you have to reload between each person, you're going to need to peek in and out this door, right? You might have to come through here, pop back out, check over here. So always give yourself an out. Never leave yourself stranded. Don't go into a corner that doesn't have an exit solution. Same thing. Think of it like as if you were in a fire, right? You never want to not have a way out because you're going to get into a situation where you need a way out. So yeah, I came around this corner. I checked top door. I checked bottom door. I slid closer to here, gave myself an exit opportunity. I'm checking spawn. Sometimes people are hiding back here in this corner. If you're moving along the back side of this house, boom, you have access to here. You have access to spawn, Domination, usually A is right here. I think it's A or C. So you can go ahead, grab your C. You're watching both spawns over here as well. And you're kind of just rotating back and forth. You're checking top door, checking spawn, checking spawn, checking spawn. Every once in a while, you're going to turn around and check. Probability of somebody coming from behind you is minimal unless spawn swaps. Spawn swaps are something that you definitely have to keep in mind when you're playing this game. Spawn swaps are what get people killed, I would say 90% of the time, because you're not expecting somebody to come from behind you. You think you're tracking through the map, you're checking your corners, you're doing everything right, and then you get all the way to the other side and it's your team, and you're like, where's everybody else? They're right behind you. You're going to turn around and immediately somebody's going to be right there, and you already lost because you were at a disadvantage. Um, so, yeah, always, you know, peek behind you every once in a while. Keep in mind that spawn changes can flip. There's no set spawn flip. It's just if your team is in their spawn's going to flip, and that could be every 30 seconds, or that could be every 10 minutes, depending on how long the game is. So always be ready to check behind you consistently. Keep your ears open, listening behind you, listening for footsteps. That is key to quickscoping, is footsteps. But I don't want to go too far into making this video crazy long. But yeah, that's basic map movements. Corners, accelerate around corners. Make sure you always have cover and always have an exit plan. Right here, it's a horrible spot. You don't have an exit plan. You can get hit from here, 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 here. Like, there's so many spots you can get hit from, and you don't have anywhere to go, right? You have right here, or you have right here. But putting you right here puts you into a spawn location. Putting you right here puts you into the middle of the map. So, horrible spot to sit. But anyway, let's get into some bots so I can show you pre-aiming and how it's effective. Alrighty, for the sake of explaining this and showing you how pre-aiming and stuff works, I'm going to have 10 bots on a recruit. Probably still going to die, not going to lie, because I'm not going to be focused, but it's alright. But yeah, so basically, the spawn locations for free-for-all are going to be different than they are for team deathmatch. So I'm going to quickly move over here. So anyway, you spawn here. First thing I'm checking, doorway, entry. I'm going to run up the side of here. I'm already peeking right here. I'm already looking. See how there's one person right there? Boom. Okay. Secondly, right here on truck, checking over on truck. And then I hear people on my left ear. I know there's somebody in this garage right here. So let me start from right here. I didn't get him. So yeah, running through here. Already peeked. Boom. Knew that she was going to be there. Checking garage, checking trailer, checking yellow car. Once I checked yellow car, I'm going to slide through here. Check this back corner. People love to sit here. I'm going to slide through. Check right here. I'm looking down alleyway. I'm covered from the door. Mostly covered from the window. You can kind of kick back a little bit. Be covered from both. But checking down this way. As I come through here, I hear somebody on my left. Hear somebody on my right. Okay. As I'm coming through here, I'm checking this spot, checking here, and checking here. They're probably just going to do their own thing, to be honest. But checking down this way, this opens me up to these two, so you have to be cautious. Be very cautious right here. Now, moving into pre-aiming. So, basically, when I'm looking around, I'm always keeping my crosshairs at head level. If I'm sliding, I'm up, right? Not that far, but that was just an example. If I'm jumping, my crosshairs are going down. I'm counteracting the movements that I'm making. I always want my crosshairs to be kind of right where head level is, or at least mid-body. So, moving through, I'm not following standard map navigation, just so I can show you guys. Sliding around corners and stuff, still effective. Looking down here, right, I see one person. Pre-aiming is having your crosshairs directly on the person prior to aiming in. When I aim in, I'm already on them. Tracking is a lot easier, right? If you have to come in, right, you're zoomed in, now you're dragging and chasing. You don't want to be chasing because most of the time they're going to make a movement you're not prepared for. So you're not going to hit your shot. You only want to make one adjustment before you have to fire. Any more adjustments other than one is going to cause you to lose on the TTK, the time to kill, and you're going to fall behind and they're going to get you. So basically with pre-aiming, what you're doing is you're just keeping your crosshair centered on the target based off of no matter what movement you're doing, so you don't have to make any adjustment. It also makes it look cleaner, right? You don't want to be coming in and dragging and trying to focus and then shooting. That doesn't look clean, right? If I'm like, that doesn't look as nice as if I were to pre-aim and pop. For example, if I shoot the leg, that's a hit marker, right? But if I'm pre-aimed head level, it's going to be a one shot. So always keep your crosshairs mid body, shoulder height, or headshot if you can maintain the accuracy. Generate space between you and your target. If your target's right here and you're running up on them, right, you're not knifing them. All you're doing is going to block your sight with their book bag or whatever launcher they have on the back of them. You're going to give them the opportunity to knife you. Generate space between you and your target. I do that through wall jumps, through height. Height's a really big one. You can use height to your advantage in almost every scenario. It's generating 1 space, 2 throwing them off, and 3 giving you an advantage. If you're ever looking up at somebody, they have the advantage on you. If you're ever looking down on somebody, you have the advantage on them. So I use height 100%, and see right there how I was constantly tracking him even though I wasn't scoped in. That's part of pre-aiming. But yeah, so generate height and generate space between you and your target. You don't have to generate a lot of space, but just enough space to where you can comprehend kind of what's happening and still see around you. Because if you're up on somebody, you're blocking your view from the people that are in your peripherals, right? That brings me into one of the settings. FOV, I play with my FOV on 120. I just like to see as much as possible, and I don't play long, right? All the maps are pretty small. I'm not sniping for long shots. I'm sniping for trick shots, or I'm sniping for trick shots, or I'm sniping for kill chains. So all of my targets are going to be out, not to give like a number reference, but within 20 meters, right? So I know for a fact that I can still see what's on my left and what's on my right. Ears are going to increase your pre-aiming by like a mile, more than a mile. Your ears are basically going to let you see behind you and to the sides of you without having to look anywhere else. So you can stay focused on a target. Right, let me find somebody. I can stay focused on this target right here, even though it's a decoy. And I know that somebody is one here. There's somebody coming through by the bus, and there's somebody in the inside of the house by the front door. That's going to give you the advantage, right? So basically, I know somebody is there. Boom. I know somebody's to my right. Boom. I know somebody's inside the house. Boom. I know somebody's coming through garage. This is all, oh, well, yeah. But, this is all through my ears, right? I didn't look at my minimap once. This is all just through audio recognition. And the longer you play the game, the more you're going to understand how to tell where somebody's at just by using your ears. You're going to learn what different distances sound like, how loud footsteps are, how loud gunshots are. And it's just going to help you to gauge where they're at. So if you know basic paths, like the most traveled paths in the game, then you're going to know based off of audio what path they're taking and how far they are along that path and how close they are to you. That's going to give you a huge advantage over somebody who's just either new to the game, hasn't been playing that long, or doesn't play often enough. As far as quick scoping versus hard scoping goes, for me, I consider a quick scope anything under 2 seconds. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Anything under 2 Mississippi would be a quick scope for me. Anything over 2 seconds is going to be a hard scope. Drag scope is anything where you're zoomed in and then drag over. Pop shot is just you're pre-aimed, you just scope in and you hit it. And then a no scope is, I'm sure you all know, you're just boom, no scope. And the reason that I'm able to hit these no scopes so consistently and so often is because of my pre-aim, right? I'm pre-aimed on him right now. That's a long shot for a no scope. I'm pre-aimed, right? Boom. So like I knew that no scope was going to hit just based off the fact that I have those attachments. Now there are going to be times where your no scopes don't hit, right? So I'll do a couple no scopes. That one didn't hit because it's not 100% accurate. It's like 80% accurate. I don't know if that's the actual percentage, but I know that's pretty accurate, right? So that was a, see, 1, 2, right? So not everyone's going to hit. Depends on distance, depends on if they're moving, if they're not moving. Pre-aim. Oh, that one didn't hit. That one did hit. So, like I said, it's all, 1 comes down to practice, 2 comes down to knowing where everybody's going to be, how they're going to be there, and knowing that your attachments are going to have your back based off the ones that you have chosen. So anyway, moving into basic trick shotting. What I do for basic trick shotting, right? So one, generating space. Space is going to help you in trick shotting 100%. If you're trying to 360 no scope dive on somebody, by the time you land, you're at their feet. So if I know I want to get a trick shot on him, right? I'm keeping in mind where he's at on the map. I'm jumping down. I'm pre-aimed before I even jump down. Right? So I'm going to come up here, jump. Oh, they got him. Let's see if I can get somebody over here. Okay. I'm keeping my crosshairs on him regardless of where he is based off of my audio. So I know 9 times out of 10, right? If I'm jumping down here, somebody's going to be walking through this area because of the yellow car being there. Like I said, it's a popular area. So I'm always going to have my scope focused there if I'm unsure where they're at. If I'm tracking them, like right here, I know that he's right there. So when I jump in 360, I know the exact amount of movement that's going to happen in my mouse to put me at 180 degrees opposite of where I was. So I'm going to try to hit a few different shots and explain them after I hit them, and then hit them again, explain them why I do them. So basically, one that I'm going to do right quick, 180 reverse, boom. I'm already putting my crosshair where it needs to be before I land. So I know when I land, it's going to be right there. All right, do it again. Even though he's behind the bush, I knew that I was still on him. That just comes from muscle memory and knowing where you need to have your placement at. But yeah, for dive shots, just pre-plan where they're going to be and do your best to learn that muscle memory. Same thing applies if you're jumping off of higher elevation. You're going to want to plan where that person is going to be and take into account the height difference, right? So before, we're going down, so we're aiming up. Now we're going up, so we're aiming down. If you're going to hit the shot, if you plan on hitting the shot after you have already reached the ground, then you're going to be aiming up, right? So let me see if I can get up here and show you. So I already know somebody's going to be down here. Boom. I hit markered them, right? That could have been, if I hit a little bit higher, that would have been a kill right there. But when I landed, I was facing up, right? I'm not facing down. I'm not facing center. I was facing up. I mean, for that one, I was probably facing a little bit too low. But for the purpose, facing upwards. Jump around the corner. I knew they were going to be there. Boom. Got that one. The amount of time it takes you to get back up after doing a dive shot is going to determine whether or not you can hit your kill chain. Because you only have milliseconds to get back up after hitting your after hitting your dive shot before the next person comes around. And if you're on the ground, you're at a disadvantage because you're looking up, right? Looking up is at a disadvantage. Looking down is at an advantage. So then moving from dive shots into 360s, 360s look really cool. It's basically just the same thing as a dive shot, right? So if I know that my dive shot has to be pre-aimed, then my 360 also has to be pre-aimed. That's just common sense, right? If it takes me 180 degrees to go here, 360 degrees will put me all the way back to where I'm at. That just comes down to muscle memory. If you can hit a dive shot, you can hit a 360. If you have the right attachments, you can hit a no scope on your dive shot. You can hit a no scope 360. It's not crazy hard. It's just a matter of learning the amount of motion that it takes to get your crosshairs where you need to be, and pre-planning, having map knowledge of where that person's going to be by the time you finish whatever move you're executing, right? Whether that's a dive, a slide, a jump, a 360, doesn't matter really what it is. Just account for the amount of time and the pace that person's moving at and the direction that they're moving in. Now, moving into kill feeds or kill chains, triple kills, quad feeds. If you're going for longer kill chains, basically what you're going to do is you're going to try to keep it simple, right? And then what makes a kill chain really interesting and what really catches everybody's eye is when you have 5-6 kills in a row and then your final is your trick shot, right? So even if you don't hit your trick shot at the end, you still have a 6 on, you still have a 5 on, whatever it is. So don't go for your trick shot right off the bat, because if you miss that trick shot, now you have nothing, right? You have nothing to show for it. So, for example, let me try to get a kill feed in here. I'll show you the difference. I'll show you guys the difference real quick between playing for trick shots and playing for kill feeds. Okay, so let me just get them out of here real quick. So playing for trick shots, I'm going to be running, I'm jumping, right? I'm tracking him. I know he's in garage, tracking him out here. Jump. Oh, missed him. Got him. Right here. Sliding. Okay, I know he's there. I'm jumping, covering. Jumping off of here. Checking. That's how you play for trick shots, right? Small little jumps also spice up your feed too. If you're jumping before you shoot, right? Like I'm diving. Oh, that's not a dive. That was a drop shot. Didn't mean to do that. But if I'm diving or jumping, boom. Right? That's just something that it doesn't really add much. All you're doing is correcting your upward movement for a downward aim. Makes it a little bit more visually interesting, right? So if you're trying to work up in steps. Kill feeds, you're playing on route planning. So you're predicting where they're going to be in succession. So that's what happens when you go in a corner. Don't do that. Planning where they're going to be in succession and staying as centered and you know, on point as possible. So let me just try to get away from him. So I'm tracking here, tracking there. I'm going here. Boom. Boom. In my eye, I already know where the next people are going to be. Boom. Checking alley, checking door, checking garage, checking yellow car, checking garage. They're one in garage, checking yellow car, going down here, checking here. Boom. Spawn. I know spawn's right here. Somebody coming around here, checking left. Boom. Checking left. Going through here, checking spawn, checking alleyway, checking door, checking stairs, coming through here, looking at bus, looking at trailer. I know somebody's there, covering 2 people. He went into trailer. He never made it through trailer. Coming through here, boom, he's still standing there. Go through trailer, check here, check door, axe, boom, got him. Go through here, check garage, check spawn, 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 stairs, alleyway. Seen somebody in door when I was peeking. Don't know where he went. Boom, got him. Go through here. Boom, got him. So that's basically, you're just pre-planning and pre-checking every single area before you get there, keeping in mind that you're still listening side to side. You're still peeking in different areas. This is probably going to be, yeah. But kill chains and kill feeds are based off of prediction. And so are trick shots. Going for kill feeds and kill chains versus going for trick shots is 2 completely different playing styles. Yes, you still have to predict for trick shots. You still have to predict for kill chains as well. But you're only predicting movement on trick shots, or maybe movement plus 1 prediction of where somebody might be. For kill chains, you're predicting 10, 20, maybe even 30 people in a row. So you can get that kill chain. You can get that 30 on that you're dreaming of. You know what I'm talking about? So it basically just comes down to what interests you more. Are you going to be a quad feed trick shot quickscoper, or are you going to be a endurance kill chain sniper? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, the basics are check your corners, predict where players are going to be, always be listening. Learn the map routes, learn the route of probability, which is, you know, where they're most likely going to go versus where somebody's not usually going to stand. Those are the one-offs. The one-offs will always get you. There's no way to predict a one-off. That's people who don't have experience in playing the game, don't really know the routes, or they're just on the game running in circles trying to get people. Like I said, this isn't this is right or this is wrong. This is just how I play, what I go by, what has helped me, what I've learned. If you guys want a more in-depth portion of any part of this video, let me know down in the comments below. If you think that you know a better way to do it, let me know. I want to try it out. I'm still learning. So, you know, I'm open to criticism in the comments, because if it makes me a better sniper, I want to be a better sniper. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, feel free to let anything fly in the comments. But hopefully you guys learned at least a little bit from this video. Feel free to check out my TikTok, BozzyG. If you want to check out my shorts here on YouTube, that'd be great. If you want to drop some follows, my TikTok or subscriptions over here on YouTube, go ahead and do that. I'm still trying to hit 50 on YouTube so that I can go live on here as well. That way I'll be live on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. But yeah, till the next one. Deuces.